Let's have a conversation.
Thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure I'll see you at one of these events again
all
soon.
time. We got Mark with Mindful Reality Podcast, who I've been a guest on, and it was a blast.
Thank you for having me, honestly, and I cannot wait to do it again. We're going to do this again in the future. I just know it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mindful Reality TV from a mental health perspective. This is my challenge episode 2 recap. I'm so excited to get in with these challenge recaps, as I'm going to have these be a regular thing. Big Brother is still going on, but like I said, next week when Big Brother is over, that opens up 6 slots for me to talk about other stuff for the other 6 days a week. Yeah, I'm with the first. Hi, Tammy. So this is probably going to be a quick one, but let's just jump right into it. Something that I've noticed that not everybody notices, because I speak to other challenge fans, when they show a discussion about going into an elimination at the beginning of the episode, usually that person goes into the elimination. So I already knew who was going in based on that. They showed Jay and Chauncey having a conversation. Now, Jay is trying to get his Wes on. And I guess in a season where a bunch of the usual suspects, especially the male vets and the male winners, are not there, I guess that offers Jay the perfect chance to actually be this guy that is this mastermind manipulator. He tries to do this all the time, but the real vets have really read him for filth, so they always sniff out his strategy and get him out. But in a season where these are like 1-2 season people and nobody has won before on the challenge, I guess his strategy is working early on, although we will see if it pays dividends later on down the road. Hi, Lisa. So it showed how Jay was like, okay, we're split down the middle. We have 50% of the people are from the US and 50% of the people are from the UK, or not necessarily the UK, but international players, 50% US and 50% international. So he said, for right now, I want to work with the US and take out some international numbers. But he was saying, I'm also working with this one, this one, and this one, and this one. And he listed about 5 or 6 people from the international side. So basically, Jay is working with 75% of the cast, which again, literally a Wes move. Shout out to Wes. I guess he's not going to be on any more of these, but people are following in his footsteps, his blueprint that they called him the snake for. Hi, Holly. So they showed this conversation where Jay and Chauncey were speaking, and Jay was kind of like, I want to work with Chauncey because he's on the US side, or he's one of the US numbers, but I don't know. And then it showed Chauncey that was basically like, I don't trust Jay necessarily. Like, he's on my team, but I don't trust him. So I'm thinking to myself, I think that Chauncey's going into the elim based on that. They do a lot of foreshadowing, which not everybody picks up on that stuff, and I think I didn't really pick up on it too much either until I started covering the challenge. But now that I cover it, it's easy to tell who's going in from the beginning of the episode, at least one of the people. So it showed a conversation that Olivia was having with Huey. They were connecting about their upbringing. It showed Kyland. There was a scene with Kyland giving a massage to Melissa. They were both saying they were attracted to each other. I'm like, look at Kyland. Look at Kyland in another showmance, potentially. So we got to this daily challenge, and so far these daily challenges have been worth 50,000 in the bank, and the 50,000 is added to the winner's total. So the winner, there's only going to be one winner, which a lot of people have said is unfair because lately they've been doing one male winner and one female winner, but this season they said they're doing one overall winner. And the thing is, with a lot of these finals being extremely long and physical, that has favored the men, you know, to this point. I mean, I think one time we had a first overall winner. The first place overall was Jenny, which they have not invited her back since. But typically, the women don't finish in first place. So that is what it is. In this daily challenge, there was a lot of chiefs and not enough Indians. There was a lot of people trying to come up with strategies. Michelle was all up in the mix, and what's his name? Asaf. There was a bunch of them that were all like, oh, I got the best strategy. I got the best strategy. I have the best strategy. I have the best strategy. They had to form this ladder, and then they had to pass these balls up the ladder and drop them in this hoop thing. And each ball was worth $2,000. So by my count, that means they had to get 25 in to get the whole 50K. And they got 6K, which was only 3 of the balls. So they failed that miserably. They got 0 in the first challenge. They got 6,000 out of 50,000 in the second challenge. That must suck. They left basically what, 50 and then 44, $94,000 that could have gone to the final prize for the first place winner was left on the table because they could not complete those challenges. So we get out of that. Everybody's kind of arguing. It's like, oh, we all suck. We go to this club scene. The focus in this club scene is on Kyland and Melissa. And everybody is like, kiss her, kiss her, kiss her. Everyone's telling Kyland to kiss Melissa. They've already been flirting and everything. It was kind of weird because they only showed us a few seconds of it. So I didn't really understand quite why she was so upset, but he did not kiss her. And then they had an argument in the corner. They left the group and they went in the corner. Hi, Chanel. I remember Melissa for being the one who, well, not the one, but one of the people who hooked up with Fessy. And then Melissa had some kids, and it seemed like she was happy with that guy who she had the kids with. And then I guess they're broken up because she said she's a single mom and takes care of the kids by herself now. So she had that conversation with Kyland, and she said, you embarrassed me. There's all these other guys who would have loved to kiss me. And he said, oh, it's not like I didn't want to kiss you, and it's not like I'm not attracted to you, but remember I had the conversation with you about me having autism. And Melissa said, I don't remember you having autism. Or I don't remember you telling me you had autism. And Kyland was like, yes, I have autism. And then he was saying, I don't remember what they call it in the challenge. I'm so used to saying diary room now. I guess I'm just going to say diary room. That he has autism and that he has social anxiety and he doesn't like kissing women in front of people. So they had a conversation. I guess they straightened it all out, and then it showed them later on. Let me see if I missed anything. Yeah, it showed them later on. And she was like, I just want to have some fun. This is my escape. and then they kissed later on privately in the bed. Now, it showed Chauncey having a conversation with the USA group, which is not really a USA group because they're not split up like that, but the USA people have just kind of agreed to work together type thing. So Chauncey was like, you know, I know that I'm in trouble. I know that you guys want to vote me in. I promise all of you that I will not go against you. I'm with Team USA all day. Then Jay is kind of telling him, hey, Chauncey, I mean, it seems like Huey might go in, and it seems like Huey's ready to go in, and then Huey might call you out. So are you sure that you don't want to volunteer and just take the power into your own hands? I find Jay is funny, man, because Jay really wants to play this mastermind game. I see so much potential for that game to fall apart, but at the very least, he's going to be interesting to watch. But in my opinion, both Jay and Michelle still overplay on the challenge. I don't think they need to do as much as what they are doing, but they do a lot. So anyways, it shows all these different side conversations about Chauncey. It shows how Raven is close with Chauncey. Raven spoke to Chauncey in the club, and Raven was trying to save him and trying to figure out how to save him. She's like, that's my friend, whatever. And then it showed on the other side, it showed that Olivia and Nerese are not close with Chauncey, and they're not close with Raven, or at least in the show, because this is something this is like a behind the scenes veil that my feelings on certain show things change because of what I see when I go to events. Olivia and Raven were both at the event that I was at. They were thicker than thieves at the challenge premiere event. On the show, it shows Olivia talking to Nerese, and it seems like Olivia is kind of saying, I don't trust Raven. I've seen other scenarios where people are mortal enemies on the show, allegedly. And then when I see them together, they're chummy. So it makes me wonder about some things. But anyways, at least for the show, it's like Olivia and Nerese do not trust Raven, and they think that Raven should be going against Chauncey because they said they don't really trust Chauncey and they don't know what he's going to do or if he's going to go against the squad, whatever. So that's how that went. And all the ladies seemed to agree. All the US ladies seemed to agree that they wanted Chauncey all about it there. So then everybody is speaking. This is before we get to the selection still. We have this big group conversation. Chauncey is like, let's just get right to. So first of all, they said, I think it was Huey. No, not Huey. Somebody said that there was two names on the table, and it was Chauncey and it was Huey. The two names on the table are Chauncey and Huey. So Huey kind of made his speech. Everybody thinks that I'm one of the weaker players, but I'm not a weak player, blah, blah, blah. And then Chauncey starts making his speech, and he said, so let's just get this on the table. Is there anybody here that I've done wrong? He said, let me start with you, Horacio. Have I ever done you wrong? And Horacio was like, honestly, man, you have. You called my name out when you said that you weren't going to call my name out the last season. And then it showed the clip. And then he next goes to Michelle. Michelle, have I ever done you wrong? She's like, yep. And they kind of didn't show us the whole scene, but basically they showed a lot of people speaking in their diary room entries. and basically saying, oh yeah, Chauncey's done me wrong. Chauncey has been untrustworthy for me, blah, blah, blah. He's doing more harm than good by sparking up this conversation. Less is more type of thing. And I'm like, okay, the boy Chauncey is definitely going in. It's just a matter of who is he going to go against. So we get into the pit, because I'm just going to call it the pit because I don't remember what it's called. But we get into the elimination, and 17 votes go to Chauncey. So by far, overwhelmingly, they vote Chauncey in. TJ, for some reason, says, Chauncey, how's the baby? How's everything going with the baby? That tears him up. He says, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm fighting for. And I don't want to go home and see the baby yet. It's too early. So then TJ says, who are you going to pick? I guess the easiest choice would have been to pick Huey. And I was thinking maybe he'll pick Huey. That seems like smart money, to be honest with you. But I guess he made this speech where he's like, I'm down here because I've wronged a lot of you and I want to right my wrongs. So I'm going to pick James. So number one, James was like the biggest, seemingly like the biggest guy from that UK group, strongest guy. And also not picking somebody from the US, because if he had picked somebody from the US and he comes back, the whole team's going to be against him. So he picked James. James had a size mismatch on him. James is a much bigger guy than him, but he has more endurance, and that's how they tried to hype this one up. TJ trying to pump him up, which is strange because sometimes TJ is so uninvolved, and once in a while, TJ just says something, and you're like, where did that come from? So we got James and we got Chauncey. So they're playing this weird tic-tac-toe-ish kind of game where you're trying to score the most points. So they showed that James won the first round, and it showed that James, I think, edged the second round. Then we got into this third round, and it was showing that James is very tired. And it showed that Chauncey is, a lot of energy, because we know that he's always in the gym. So he's an endurance guy. And it looked really close and really dramatic. But at the end, James edged it out. James edged it out by 1 point. And then he was like, oh, yeah, he was kind of flexing. I did the thing. I'm a beast, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, you barely won. And it didn't look that impressive. And despite the fact that Chauncey is extremely fit, he has not shown himself to actually be good in challenges or eliminations. He's just fit. It's weird because there's some people who are not as fit as him who are significantly better at challenges. And it just, being fit does not always translate to being good at the challenge, as certain people have proved. So James takes out Chauncey, and here we are. It was a pretty good episode. I liked the first episode better than this episode, but this episode was still pretty good. I am excited for whenever the vets come into play, because at the end of the episode, TJ said something about his timer. When his clock goes down, and showed this clock that was ticking. It's like all kinds of things are going to happen. And then in our preview, we know that Cara Maria and CT and Jordan and all these people are going to be probably a mercenaries type of thing, where the people going into the elimination have to beat them to stay in the game. So I can't wait for that. That is very exciting. The preview for the next episode looked exciting. This season is promising. The one thing that has nothing to do with the show that I'm going to say is that I didn't the timing of when they've been putting these shows on. The Challenge USA 2 was at a 10 p.m. slot on a Thursday and then a 10 p.m. slot on a Sunday, random and late for both days. And now the challenge, the mainstay challenge is competing with a staple of 8 p.m. on Wednesdays, which is Survivor. So when it comes to the stuff that they keep talking about with the ratings, I mean, I'm not one that's steady on the ratings, like, oh, it's about to get canceled, but I'm like, you're going up against a monster in Survivor, and you keep changing time slots. So one time you're 10 on Thursday, one time you're 10 on Sunday, one time you're 8 on Wednesday, one time you're 9, one time you're this day, one time you're that day. So I don't really know how they plan to compete with that, but regardless, I guess the best thing that I can do is just remain a fan. As I told all of you, now that they're on at the same time, I'm definitely a challenge fan first. So I'm always going to watch the challenge first, except for possibly a finale night. If the Survivor finale is coming on before the challenge finale, which I think it will, I would probably watch the Survivor finale first. But typically, I'm going to watch the challenge first, and I'm going to watch Survivor tomorrow. And I'm going to have your recap for that. Can't wait to see them either. So that's it for my challenge recap of episode 2. I'll see y'all next time for that. And I will be back on here in 13 minutes for my Big Brother stuff, which is just going to be my day 92 entry because I've not missed a day yet. I know it's late today, but as I told all of you, rough day at work, having to go in. It's a lot. Honestly, I'll talk more about that on my Big Brother chat. And for those who are watching just for the challenge, I will talk to y'all soon.
So you literally were one of my very first followers. And then when you followed me and I, followed back, I was like, this dude is cool. Like,
if they say talk to your manager, you just say, you know what, talk to the hand. You don't need to be on my podcast. But, yeah, dude. Yeah, you do a great job.
Thank you. I always get a kick out of talking with you on Patreon. You have a really good, view on everything.
That wasn't planned.
you know what?
Thank
But
you.
I like this Canadian.
Well,
this one.
well, thank you. I